Hello. Recently, I went on a trip to San Luis Potosí, Mexico, and I had a lot of fun. However, prior to leaving, and also upon return, not everything was sunshine and rainbows. You see, there's a couple of toxic individuals in my life, and so far they've been causing a nuisance in my life and the life of my loved ones. I won't say who their names are to protect their privacy, but I will address them as Person A and Person B. I wanted to make this video to vent a little bit, but also to spread awareness to individuals who are like this, and what you can do to prevent and stop them. To give some context on the situation, I'll start with how I met them, and how things slowly started to progress, and when I started to recognize their toxic behaviors. I first met Person A about 7 years ago, when my boyfriend introduced me to him and his mother. At first, I noticed he was distant and he didn't really look at me in the eyes or address me in any way. I was fine with that, but over the years it slowly escalated to verbal abuse, machismo, indirect comments, and gaslighting. Verbal abuse is a type of psychological and mental abuse that involves the use of oral, gestured, and written language directed to a victim. Verbal abuse can include the acts of harassing, labeling, insulting, scolding, rebuking, or excessive yelling towards an individual. It could also include the use of derogatory terms and delivery of statements intended to frighten, humiliate, denigrate, or belittle a person. Machismo is a strong or exaggerated sense of traditional masculinity, placed great value on physical courage, virility, domination of women, and aggressiveness. An exaggerated interest in devotion to something, often accompanied by a sense of superiority. A strong and some considered exaggerated sense of manly pride associated with attitude of the proper expression of masculinity. Is a colloquialism loosely defined by making someone question their own reality. The expression, which derives from the title of 1944 film Gaslight, became popular in the mid-2010s. The term is also used to describe a person who presents a false narrative to another group of person, therefore leading them to doubt their perceptions and become misled, disoriented, or distressed. Oftentimes, this is for the gaslighter's own benefit. Gaslighting is a form of psychological abuse in which a person or group causes someone to question their own sanity, memories, or perception of reality. People who experience gaslighting may feel confused, anxious, or as though they cannot trust themselves. After meeting Person A, I shortly afterwards met his son, Person B, and his impression was no different than that of Person A's. He would make very sexual jokes and comments about me to my boyfriend, and frankly it made me uncomfortable. But I never said anything about it because I wanted to be in everyone's good graces, and I knew he was joking, right? Well, I was a fool to believe that it was just all fun and games. I let the toxicity build up until finally we're at where we're at. And where we're at is that Person A kicked out my brother who was staying with us at the time and forbade him from seeing me just because of his own personal insecurities, as well as slashed his tires. On top of that, have his son, Person B, continually berate and belittle my brother behind his back, and make lascivious comments about myself behind my back. Try to break into our house and steal while we're away on vacation, and blame the whole thing on my brother who was cat sitting at the time, but couldn't even go into the house because Person A was so paranoid he changed all the locks of the house and withheld the keys. So, with all of that in mind, what did I do? At first, I was completely livid. In private, I vented to my partner about how evil they are and how dare they treat me and my brother like fools and like trash, all the while guilt-tripping my boyfriend and his mother about the whole situation. I cursed them and spat venomous words such as, "I hope they rot and go to hell for their actions, and I hope that karma hits them soon." But then after getting all of that out of my system, I realized how in turn I was becoming a toxic person. You see, they did this to get a rise out of me, and many toxic individuals do this in fact. They get a high off of making others miserable as they are. So I had to change my perspective on the situation and deal with the fact that this is unfortunately how these people are. Nothing I say or do will change them, because if they really did want to change, they would have done so by now. I spoke to my parents who live in Colombia to see if I can get some constructive advice. Firstly, my father said that it would be best that I leave, since living with people like person A has proven to be more negative than positive. So that's in the plans for the near future. Secondly, I suggested that I keep my distance and practice grounding. Grounding or earthing is a technique that people use to de-stress and to make themselves feel better. So now whenever I get upset or am at my breaking point, I go and take a walk or I meditate to calm myself. And as simple as that sounds, it works. We can't change the people around us, but we can change how we react to them. Getting angry and riling ourselves up is only poison to our mind and our body. So, having mindfulness is how we rise above the negativity. Don't allow others to dim your light. Instead, shine it so bright that it blinds them and leaves them dizzy. And remember, you are loved. Even if you don't have people who love you, the universe loves you. And I love you.